Sometimes people can get stuck on a perspective. Like, we're growing through the course of our life and we have all these different ideas and they're changing all the time, and these different facets of our beliefs change. But sometimes they stop changing and you're just stuck on one. And sometimes you meet a person and they just think they have this great idea and they want to tell people about it, but it drives people away. For whatever reason, people disagree, and it turns people off to hear that person talk about that idea, and for good reason sometimes, right? Sometimes people are just wrong. The merits of their ideas they don't work. So if you find someone in that position, I think the right thing to do is to take them aside and say, like, hey, let's discuss the merits of what you're saying. Like, do you think this is helpful to you in your relationships? Do you think this is helpful to you in your day-to-day life? Like, how is this useful, and how do you think this is going to help people? Right? And if they have good answers, right, if they actually have a good point somewhere in what they're saying, it's like, great, let's identify it and see if there's a better way to express it. And maybe that can be helpful to people without driving them away. But if you're driving people away, I think typically it's bad, because like, if you want to share an idea, you want people to receive it well. So if the people are just completely unreasonable, that's one thing. But I think for the most part, people are pretty reasonable, right? You can reason with them. It's just that sometimes before you can reason with a person, you kind of have to get them comfortable. People are kind of like rabbits in that regard, or deer. You know, if you approach too quick or too aggressively, they're going to run away. They're going to get defensive. And it doesn't matter what you say to them, they're not listening. So execution is really important, and getting somebody into a mindset where they can actually receive your idea is important. So, you know, if there is some merit to what they're saying, great. Let's try to figure out how to express it better. But if they're just saying something that's not helpful and there are no merits to it, it's not actually good or beneficial for them or anyone else, I think the best thing to do is to take them aside and say, you know, let's have a discussion, because you keep doing this thing or talking about this thing and it's not helping you and it's not helping other people, and it would be a shame to just leave you in this way, on this path that's driving people away from you and causing you to be isolated, right? And I've seen people like this all throughout my life. Sometimes I'm one of those people, and it's like, it's a shame that people see a person like that who's stuck on an idea and they can't seem to get past it, or they can't see the flaws in it. And instead of helping them out and talking to them about it, they just avoid the person and they just kind of leave them to be isolated in their ways. I think that's actually, I don't know, I think that's like, it's like if there were an important bond that human beings required to be cohesive in a community or in a family or in a nation, right? That behavior, the behavior of leaving people alone when they're doing something that you disagree with or you don't like, that behavior is like a horrible sickness, because that production of that bond and helping each other is extremely important. Like, if you don't do that, how are you ever going to have any cohesion? So we can't just leave these people behind. We have to actually talk to them and have hard discussions. So anyway, that's the thought. I kind of rambled a little bit there, but maybe there's something useful in there for someone to think about. That's all I got.